Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Pop Culture Powerhouses. This week we have got two-sixths of the Trinities. Well, I guess it's one third of the Trinities, isn't it? It's Wolverine and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I guess. I
Quick
guess
maths.
so. I was like, what?
It's interesting because these are both part of the brand's Trinities, obviously Marvel being Spider-Man, Hulk, Wolverine traditionally,
Yeah,
and DC being Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. But I would say Wolverine's obviously been a little bit left by the wayside in regards of Trinity status with the MCU because they didn't have the rights.
yeah,
And Wonder Woman is sadly miles away from the heights of Batman and Superman because, again, no one really knew what to do with her for so long.
yeah. It's weird that.
It's really weird. It's crazy. I was crazy once. But yeah, exactly. I beat you to
I held
it.
myself.
We've got 6 categories to help us decide who is
We
the
do.
biggest pop culture powerhouse. We've got iconicness, individuality, quality of adaptations, legacy, relatability, and personal preference.
Yes.
Let's get right into it. Iconicness.
I feel like Wolverine's pretty iconic, especially to our generation, in the sense of we all just see Hugh Jackman when you say that name.
I agree to an extent.
Obviously,
I
there's a
think
lot of people that
Wolverine.
know
I think
more.
Wolverine is very iconic. I do think Wonder Woman is more iconic though. I feel like if you Google superhero, Wonder Woman's probably going to be one of the first pictures that comes up. I don't know if it will be
Okay, yeah.
anymore.
I think if you think in terms of like comic hero name, Wonder Woman
Like everyone knows
holds.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I think Wolverine, it's almost like you say Wolverine, and he is iconic from the fact of like we all just know Hugh Jackman played that role for so long. I mean, still playing the role, and he's helped make that character feel iconic, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you know what I think I'd say? I think for people who care about superhero media and consume it,
Hmm.
Wolverine will seem more iconic. But to the layman who
Yeah.
doesn't care about superhero media, I think more of them will recognise the name Wonder Woman than Wolverine.
Yeah, I think, yeah, no, I would agree there. I think for the layman, they might see Hugh Jackman and be like, oh, didn't he play that guy with like the claws?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But everyone knows Wonder Woman, like, and I think the big part is obviously she was the first incredibly successful female superhero,
yeah,
and as a result, there are a lot of girls, women all over the world who found a way into comic books via Wonder Woman,
yeah.
which is why she will always be a queen. Individuality.
I feel like Wolverine's pretty individual.
Yeah, I'd say they're both pretty unique in all fairness. Maybe Wonder Woman's less unique in her power set, but in
Yeah,
the mythos around her
yeah,
is incredibly
yeah,
unique.
yeah, true.
I'd say it's probably why they're both such big characters, is
Well,
because there
yeah,
is truly no one like either of them.
they were, and then why they're part of the Trinity, because they were like one of those like early ideas where before there was blurring of lines or like merging of like
Yeah.
ideas.
The idea of Wolverine being this guy who's cursed to essentially live forever,
Yeah,
fighting in wars, never gets a minute alone. And then you've got like almost the opposite but the same in Wonder Woman. She's not cursed to live forever, she kind of gets to live forever.
yeah,
She's not cursed to always be fighting, she chooses to always fight for what's right. And she's like, she is a warrior, but a lot of the time you could almost view her as a warrior of peace. She's kind
yeah.
of turning up to
Well,
fight so others don't have to.
yeah, and the whole like lasso of truth, like it's always about being the hero and being doing it for the right thing.
Do you know what I think it is? Wolverine is fighting because he feels like he has no choice. Wonder Woman has a choice and she's choosing to fight to try and help people.
Yes.
That they're doing a very similar thing, but one feels like they have no choice and one knows they have a choice.
Yeah, it's like one is like yeah, I was born with these abilities. I will fight and use them for good. The other is I've been cursed with these abilities. The only thing I can do is just use them to fight. Like
Exactly.
I've tried to live a normal life. I always end up in a fight. I just succumb to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's they're very, very, very cool characters.
Yeah.
Quality of adaptations,
I'd say,
both pretty good.
yeah, both pretty good. I would say maybe DCU hurt Wonder Woman a little because they struggled in using it and sometimes kind of over pushed her onto other projects that
Mm.
didn't
So,
help her image.
Hugh Jackman is iconic as Wolverine.
Yes.
If Hugh Jackman was cast as Wolverine today, it would be seen as one of the worst castings of all time. The
Mm,
reaction would be Wolverine's supposed to be 5'4" and Canadian. Why have they hired the handsome 6'3" Australian? That would be the
yeah.
response
No,
if
you're
he
not
was.
wrong.
It's just fortunately he got cast at a time where people weren't as weird about stuff like that,
And he
or
did
not
a
as
great
openly as
job.
weird. And he did such a good job that an entire generation of people grew up and went, "Yeah, cool, that's Wolverine."
Yeah. It's funny because it's like if you think about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, solid adaptation. Was he unfortunately used in some X-Men adaptations that weren't so great? Yeah, but at the end of the day, he was always the same Wolverine that he's always played. He was solid across them all.
Mm,
I mean, look at him in Logan. That was like a great adaptation.
yeah,
The one we've had in like X-Men '97 and the anime shows, great in that. When we've had the Deadpool X Wolverine game,
yeah.
solid in that. Um, Wonder Woman also, I feel like, has had solid adaptations.
I would say, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, the generations before us, so Gen X Boomer,
Mm,
will view Linda Carter's Wonder Woman as we view Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
probably, yeah.
She is iconic in that role. There are 60-year-olds who are like, yeah, Linda Carter was the fucking goat as Wonder Woman.
Probably, yeah.
Um, so I think their quality of adaptations is very, very even. I
Yeah,
just think Wolverine has had a few more.
yeah, I would agree. And I feel like towards the tail end of DCU, they kind of hurt their use of
Yes,
Wonder Woman a little.
Gal Gadot was not a good casting,
And then
and
shoehorning her in every DCU project was a
yeah,
bit much.
but that's definitely a close one.
Mm.
Legacy.
I feel like,
Off the rip, I'm going Wonder Woman.
yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, the amount of women she inspired into comics and then
Yes.
other female superheroes that she led to,
Without Wonder Woman,
huge.
there are an entire generation of women that never got the chance to be interested in comics at a time when it was already difficult. They were given a way in.
Yeah.
Her success made it easier for other comic book writers to want to write female characters.
Mhm.
Absolute icon. I would say she's probably a feminist symbol. I want to say Wonder Woman is ironically like an ambassador. I know she's a fictional
Probably.
character, but I'm pretty sure she
Wouldn't
is
surprise me.
an official ambassador. The United Nation, yeah. So for a long time, she was an ambassador for the UN
There you go then.
to show the strength of women. Like that is an
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
level of cultural significance.
I feel for Wolverine, it's like some people might disagree, but he held up them Fox X-Men films. Like he was the
Yes.
rock that held them strong through their different wavering
I
instances.
ironically, leaning so heavily on Wolverine did hurt the Fox films Oh, sorry, it hurt the X-Men. It helped
Yeah,
the Fox films, but it hurt the X-Men.
yeah.
Fortunately, X-Men 97 started to undo that damage by going, oh no, all of the X-Men are fucking dope. But yes, his legacy is incredible. He's one of the big
I
three. He works as part of the X-Men. He works by himself. He is
I
so
feel like
incredible.
partly also you could partly say the reason we have the MCU because he really sold like our generation on a solid superhero films. Like those early Fox X-Men had their faults, but we all loved them and we loved Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And that really kind of set a basis of like a generation that enjoys these films that then meant the MCU could flourish down the line.
Absolutely.
Obviously not quite the
Relatability.
same level as
Well,
one.
yeah. Relatability.
I mean, I'm as hairy as Wolverine is, so that's pretty relatable.
Yeah. You're also
Oh,
as old as him.
yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the claws. That would be pretty cool to have the
That'd be
claws.
dope. Who do I think is more relatable? I mean, ironically, they both come from very relatable like ideologies.
Yeah,
The mutants are literally there to be, as bad as it sounds, the minority. The entire idea is that anyone who feels marginalized for any reason has an X-Men character they can
hmm,
relate to. And then Wonder Woman was obviously, like we've said on a number of points,
yeah,
she was the beginning of women getting a big chance in comics. So most women who got into comics in the early days relate to her. Like that's the whole point. And they didn't. It's not like they didn't feminize her. They didn't overly feminize her. It's just oh, she likes makeup and shoes,
yeah,
and it was no. She's a fucking warrior. You will respect her.
yeah.
She values truth, honesty, integrity, and fighting for what's right.
Yeah, it's tough. I think they're both very relatable, but in different areas
Yes.
and
Oh
for
yeah.
different people.
Their target audiences are
Mm,
completely separate, but to their target audiences, I'd say they are equally relatable.
yeah, I could agree
It's
with that.
really difficult.
Mm.
Personal preference.
For me, it's Wolverine. I love Wolverine. I think he's great.
I would say I'm probably more likely to read a Wolverine story, but I have got a lot of love for what Wonder Woman as a character has allowed comics to become.
Mm.
Hmm. I would probably lean towards a tie on personal preference. I'm not sure I could say, in a pop culture sense, who is more important to me. I
I
think losing Wolverine as a character doesn't hurt the landscape of comics as much, but hurts the comics I enjoy more.
mm,
It's a tricky one.
I think I still lean Wolverine.
That's completely fair. But I just think if you were to like make it so one never existed, I feel like losing Wonder Woman would make comics overall a lot worse.
I get you.
Whereas not having Wolverine as someone who reads like Spider-Man and I'm getting into the
Yeah,
X-Men, so I feel like Wolverine directly affects the characters I read a bit more,
yeah.
um, which is the difficulty. But let's tot it up and see what we think.
Yes.
Iconicness. Did we land on Wonder Woman for that?
I think so. Just because of like,
Worldwide
yeah,
notoriety. Yeah,
yeah. I think
I
we
think
we
that's
go
fair.
with Wonder Woman.
Individuality, I would say, is a tie.
Yeah, I would agree there. I think they're both individual in their own right.
Quality of adaptations,
I lean
Wolverine.
Wolverine. Yeah,
Okay. Um, Legacy,
Wonder
Wonder
Woman.
Woman,
Yeah, for
which
sure.
makes it 2-1 Wonder Woman.
Hmm.
Relatability, we said was a tie.
Yep.
And then personal preference,
I have,
probably a tie.
I have Wolverine.
Well, I think it's going to be a tie, so I'll just vote Wonder Woman. Which
There's
makes it a tie.
Yeah.
Which makes it what? 2 3
2-1.
2? 2-1 Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
close.
2-1. Yes, and I think that's probably right.
I mean, it's the like you said at the beginning. It's the two members of the trifectas of each respective
Yeah.
side of the comic world So yeah, they're both going to be very evenly matched.
Absolutely. But there we go. That was an absolute blast. Two goated characters who we are so, so thankful for. And that is it from us this week. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next week.
See you in the next one.